Hello and welcome along to this, the first of many tutorial videos that will help students at the Community School of Auchterarder with their understanding of computing science at National 5. The plan for these videos is to be as short and sharp and to the point as possible, whilst giving pupils a reference point to go back to at any point in time for any aspect of the course that will support them with their learning at home. We are going to look today at the programming aspect of National 5 Computing Science, also entitled Software Design and Development, and as we go through these videos I'll refer to the course specification from the SQA, which is a guide for teachers in the content that is in the National 5 Computing Science course. Hopefully as we go through these videos it will give pupils the opportunity to develop their skills and to try again to make sure that some of the concepts they're finding difficult they're able to overtake by learning at home and learning in a different way once they've been taught this material in the classroom. So our learning intentions for today are quite straightforward. We're looking to learn the basic functions of Visual Studio 2010 Express. How will we be successful? Well, by the end of this video we will be able to add buttons to our form. We'll be able to change the properties of those buttons, including the name and the text properties. There are other properties that can be changed and we'll explore those a bit later on in the video. And also, most importantly, the aspect of file management, being able to save projects in a predefined folder which has been set up for National 5 Computing Science, and also giving them a sensible file name. Quite a lot of the time pupils forget to give their files an appropriate name, and we then end up with folders full of project 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which obviously when you're looking for a particular project it's very difficult to find what you're looking for. So that's what we're going to aim to do today. We're going to use a piece of software called Visual Studio Express 2010. It's in the directory or all programs on your PC, and we find it by looking at Microsoft Visual Studio, and we're going to open the package from there. When we get this window, it's the same process that we do every time. We are starting a new project, and that link is there on the left hand side. When we get to this point, it defaults to what's called a Windows Form application. That's what we're looking to use for our programming. There are other options available there. We won't be looking at them at this course. Down the bottom is the first part. It gives us the name of the program, and by default these start off as being called Windows Application 1, and the number just goes up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the more that you create. We're going to start off with good habits, and we're going to give the program a sensible name, and this would be a sensible name, and it's going to be my first program, making sure that we're spelling program as in a computer program and not a TV program. We're going to click OK, and what will then happen is Microsoft Visual Studio will go in the background and it will present to us a forum. Now this forum is very similar to what you would see in any other program. It's an opportunity, or it's a window where the user can interact with the program that the people or the student you are going to design. At the moment it's got nothing on it, and what I wanted to do was take a bit of time explaining the interface that we can see in front of us at the moment. We have on the left hand side a toolbox, which is where we'll find all the tools we require to make our program do things, and most importantly what we're going to look at today is the button. And what we are essentially going to do is add a button to our form. So if I go to the toolbox and click on button, and then come over here and at the top of the window click and drag, that will then give me a button on my form. Now what I was saying about this interface is currently it's in design stage. Now if I was to run my program, what I would see is a version of this program that can then be interacted with. So for example, the button, had it been coded properly, if I was to click on it, it would do something. A couple of points to note from the learning intentions and success criteria. That's how we add a button to the form. So we can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different buttons, all with different purposes, and we can then program those buttons to do a variety of different things. What we're going to look at now is how we change the properties of that button, including name and text, but there are many others that we can choose. So if we go back to our example, if I close that and stop the program from running, on the right hand side here we have a list of properties, and as I scroll up and down them you'll see there are many different properties that can be looked at. So if we look at font, for example, that would allow me to change the font of button 1. If we look at forecolor, that would allow me to change the colour on the forefront of the button. There are a variety of other options that would allow me we can play about with, and we will explore those a bit later on. But most importantly, from the success criteria, we're looking at the name and the text property. Now, these are very important. The text property, first of all, is a bit more easier to explain. The text property is currently called button 1. Now, as you can see, if that was running with 6 or 7 buttons on it, all called button 1 to 7, how would we know as an end user which button to click on? The text that's on it gives that particular button meaning. So in this particular example, we're going to make it nice and simple, and we're going to change button 1 to the word start with a capital S. If we then hit enter or return, that will then, you will see, if you look at the button, it will update what it says to start. Now, obviously, if you had another button, that could say end, or if we could have a button that says save or print, and you see where I'm going with that. So we've got one button at the moment. That button will start the program. It's now a bit clearer because it tells us on the button that we click this button to start. The only other change that we're going to make is by looking at the success criteria of the text property, the name property. We've already done text. The name property gives Visual Basic an understanding as to what that button's called, and that can usually be found at the top of the properties window, and you'll see it there in brackets, name. Now, it's called button 1. Obviously, if we had 6 or 7 buttons on our form, they'd be called button 1 to button 6 or 7. The only problem with that is that when we're programming them, it's very difficult for a programmer to understand, what button 1, button 2, or button 3 does. So very similar to the text on it, we're going to give it a name that reflects what it actually does. So we're going to take button 1 out, and there is a naming convention for different types of objects on a form. Command button always starts off with CMD in front of it, as you can see there. And then after that, we can either do an underscore and call it start. So CMD start is the name of the button. We can also put a capital S after CMD all joined up, start. Or we can put a hyphen, start. All of these are perfectly valid. All of them work well. My preferred way of doing it is by doing CMD and then a capital S for start. And if I hit return, nothing noticeably or visibly will happen up here. The only difference being is if you click off the button and click back on it, you will now see that it's now called CMD start. To further prove that, if we double click on the button, as if we're going to give it some code, i.e. instruct it to do something when we click on it, we will now see a coding window that says private sub CMD start underscore click. All of this stuff across here we won't necessarily worry about at this point in time. All we need to know is that when we click on the button, anything that's held within this area between the private sub and the end sub, anything that we code in here is what that button is going to do when it's clicked upon. Okay, so looking at the success criteria, we have learned in this video how to add a button to our forum. We've learned how to change the properties of the buttons, including name and text properties. Another couple of things that I did want to show you in this video was how you could look or manipulate other properties, and we're going to be a bit arty when we do this. So if we look at that particular button there, let's have a look at how we can change the font. So if we go to font, we are able to change the font type and the font size so that our start looks a bit funkier. We can go to the back colour, I think it is, back colour, which is currently grey, the colour of that button there, and we can change the back colour to custom, and if we want to we can make that red. You can also do this with your forum, so you'll see currently I've clicked on the forum and it's telling me I'm in the forum there. Again, with the forum, if you wanted to change the colour of your forum, you're able to do that quite easily. Okay, so that, I would say, when we start messing around or playing around with colours and fonts and stuff like that, is something that you would look to do once you've actually created your program and it's working. Okay, last thing from this particular video, we're going to save the project in a predefined folder with a sensible file name. At the start, I gave it a sensible file name. I called it my first program. That's evident up there. Now what I want to do is go to File and Save All. Now when I click Save All, it will save it as my first program, and where it's saving it is to our Visual Studio 2010 folder, which is where all our programs will save, and that's found in My Documents. and it's going to be called My First Program. So if I click Save and then close that, if I now go to my documents, I have a folder in my documents called Visual Studio 2010. Double click in there, and we have a folder called Projects, and you'll see in Projects we now have a folder called My First Program. When we open that folder, we'll see a list of files, a folder and a file. It's that one there that we want to click on or double click on to open our program that we've just created, and hopefully we are back to where we started from. In the next video, we're going to show you how to take this a bit further, so that we've now created a form with a button, and we're going to start to give that button some code and make it do things. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.